Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is now July 8th of 2023. We are inching closer toward the official release of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 featuring Tom Cruise, which by the way Skydance and Paramount are doing an excellent job with the marketing of this film. You see, this is how you market a movie, and unlike how Disney and Lucasfilm marketed Indy 5 terribly, not saying that was the main source as to why Indy 5 failed at the box office, but it did play a form of a role in making that happen on an expedited level. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on with Bob Iger, the Disney CEO that really is, well, getting very much infuriated over his status as CEO and what's really happening behind closed doors. Now, we know that Bob Iger is in a shaky spot right now. We know that the board, or at least many members of the board, since there is a division there, we've been talking about this big board shakeup that's been going on for months now, if not years technically, if you want to count the early days. But what's interesting about this is what's going on with Iger himself over the financial freeze, as I like to call it, of Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. Now, where we stand right now, the box office results worldwide speaking, the last time, I checked, it was around 150-ish million and change. That really is not impressive, given that you have Mission Impossible coming out in just a short number of days. So anyways, moving on forward, with Indy 5 continuing to fail at the box office for Disney and Lucasfilm, however, Disney CEO Bob Iger, behind the scenes, is described to be very furious behind closed doors regarding, of course, Indy 5, and that the blame game and blame wars are beginning to rise over at Disney as chaos rises between Iger, Kennedy, and the board. One major issue happening right now due to the Indy 5 financial freeze, where the box office rate has hit an all-time low and is expected to completely collapse once Mission Impossible 7 releases in theaters on July 11th, technically speaking, is that Iger is putting together yet another meeting with the board in order to create a last-ditch effort to get fans back into the theaters for Indy 5, is that Iger wants to extend how long Indy 5 will remain in theaters, in fact, way longer than originally planned or expected, in order to get more ticket sales. The Indy 5 box office disaster is only getting worse, and right now Disney is desperate to break even at all for the 5th Indy film to hide any sign of defeat after what's happened with, of course, Elemental and the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel that is about to close by the way, this September. That really is getting closer and closer to becoming a reality. Now, let me pause here. The thing about this, guys, one thing I will say, is that we know that Iger, by the way, is somebody that is a very controlling, two-faced type of guy. One day he is sided with Kennedy, one day he's against Kennedy. I mean, we've seen this happen on a vicious cycle, and it never really stops, to be honest. Bob Chapek, as much as I also did not like that guy, I think that what I liked about him the best was this is the guy that really stamped it on paper, saying, let Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni do what they want to do with The Mandalorian and see what they can really make up with their own minds for Star Wars without Kathleen Kennedy interfering. And when you're looking back, right, Mando Season 2 was an absolute great addition to the franchise. Now, looking at this, though, where we stand with the Indiana Jones franchise, it's really not looking good. They've been saying that they are still working on Indy 5 sequels or a sequel. They're not quite sure if it's going to be a movie or a TV show. We know that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is out of the Lando series. They fired her from that show. We talked about this yesterday, and there's more developments coming for that. We'll talk about that in the days to come. But what's interesting about Phoebe is that she, too, is very naive about the entire situation, still believing that they are going to reach toward that near 1 billion goal worldwide. It's funny, it went from 1 billion to now they're saying we're going to get close to it. In other words, you're not going to get anywhere near it. That's the ultimate truth right there. But anyways, Moving onwards, continuing on, Iger reportedly has, of course, heated exchanges between the board reportedly behind the scenes, where the other board members were involved in this blame game with each other, as the board has been known to have a severe division now for years at Disney. There are already, of course, serious talks now why Iger is furious. From everything about the fallout is that the board definitely wants Iger if the Marvels, they want him out if the Marvels and Wish fail by this November, as well if Haunted Mansion fails this month. If all three do, of course, fail, they want to get him out by January of 2024, the earliest. However, the board is not investing much more into the marketing of Indy 5, and has been disagreeing with Iger's plan to keep it in theaters extended, and that they are suggesting that he should take the major loss and move on to focus on Marvel's marketing strategy along with Wish. Now guys, the fact that the board is putting together this plan that unless Haunted Mansion, Marvels, and Wish do excellent numbers, if it does not happen, if they do not perform well like that, they want Iger out. Now, we all know that the Marvels is gonna bomb. I'm not quite sure about Wish. That could go either way. It really highly depends on whether or not they're forcing an agenda in that movie, and so far it's really hard to tell on that. But when you're looking at stuff like Haunted Mansion, that has a potential, and I will be honest, it has a potential to make a profit. Will it really, though? I mean, how many people are hearing about the Haunted Mansion? This is yet again another terrible marketing plan. I'm not seeing a lot of ads out there for this movie like it should be, given that it's coming out later this month. Like, what is it, coming out, I think, July 28th? Correct me if I'm wrong. So, yeah, I mean, Bob Iger's in a tough spot. The board really wants him out. And not just that, but the board is a very divided, system right now over at Disney. There's a lot of chaos going on after the Indy 5 fallout, after the Indy 5 problems, and everything related to it in that sense. Now, one thing that we do know about everything related to Bob Iger is that he's also been pointing fingers at Kathleen Kennedy for going over budget with Indiana Jones 5. We've talked about this too. This was a part of his emergency meeting that we actually discussed yesterday that took place a couple of days ago. And a part of that was actually him blaming Kathleen Kennedy for overproducing Indy 5, basically for overly requesting unnecessary funding to this film, where she deleted a lot of scenes that cost a good penny. Alright, so a lot of de-aging tech scenes, deepfake technology scenes, whatever have you, that were worked on for not just the opening scene that was originally extended, but also for separate scenes that were still going to involve a younger version of Harrison Ford or Indiana Jones. There was more to it than just the opening scene, quite a bit actually, and a lot of it got deleted. That played a very big role in why this budget went way over budget. It was also the set builds and the overuse of CGI. Alright, that's really the gist of it. So, anyways, guys, I would love to hear your, overall opinion on all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.